Welcome to Mindful English Podcast.
Welcome back to Mindful English. I am James and I am here with Ruby. Today we are having a slow, thoughtful conversation about something many language learners struggle with, translating every word inside their heads.
Thank you, James. I think almost everyone listening can relate to that experience. You hear a sentence, you translate it, then you think about grammar, and before you know it, the conversation has already moved on.
And sometimes that constant translating can make speaking feel exhausting, but perhaps communication was never meant to feel like solving a puzzle.
Maybe understanding is more about trust than perfect translation.
I think so too. And today we are going to explore how letting go of constant translation can help us feel more present, more relaxed, and more connected when speaking English.
You know, James, I remember when I first started learning English, I believed that translating everything was the correct way to learn. I thought that if I didn't know the exact meaning of every single word, I wasn't really understanding.
That is a very common belief. Many learners feel that understanding must be perfect, but communication rarely works that way.
I used to watch movies with subtitles and pause every few seconds. I wanted to translate every expression and memorize every word.
And how did that feel?
Honestly, exhausting. I wasn't enjoying the movie, I was working. It felt like my brain was constantly running a marathon.
I think many listeners know that feeling. There's this pressure to understand everything immediately.
Exactly. And whenever I missed a word, I became anxious.
Anxiety has an interesting effect on the brain. It makes us feel like uncertainty is dangerous, even when it isn't.
So the problem isn't necessarily not knowing the word. The problem is being uncomfortable with not knowing.
Beautifully said, Ruby.
Thank you. I think I spent years trying to eliminate uncertainty completely.
And did that make learning easier?
Not really. In fact, it made everything heavier.
Because language is alive. It cannot always be controlled.
I like that idea. Language is alive.
Think about conversations in your native language. Do you consciously translate your thoughts?
No, not at all. Thoughts simply appear.
Exactly. They flow naturally.
But when speaking English, I feel like there's always an extra step.
And that extra step often creates delay.
Yes, by the time I finish translating in my mind, the conversation has already moved on.
Which can create even more stress.
It becomes a cycle.
A cycle many learners know very well.
Sometimes I feel like there are two voices inside my head. One is trying to understand naturally, and the other is interrupting every few seconds asking, wait, what does that word mean?
And which voice feels calmer?
Definitely the first one.
Because understanding is often more intuitive than we realize.
That surprises me.
Why?
Because I always thought fluency meant translating faster.
But fluency is not fast translation.
It isn't?
Not at all. Fluency is learning to trust meaning instead of translating every detail.
Trusting meaning.
Yes, think about music. You don't analyze every note while listening to your favorite song.
No, I simply experience it.
Language can become like that too.
I never thought of it that way.
There was a time when I was learning another language and I carried a dictionary everywhere.
Really?
Everywhere. I looked up every unfamiliar word.
That sounds familiar.
I thought I was being disciplined, but in reality, I was afraid.
Afraid of what?
Afraid of not understanding.
That resonates with me.
Eventually, someone gave me very simple advice.
What did they say?
They said, you don't need every piece of the puzzle to understand the picture.
I love that.
And they were right. Sometimes understanding 60 or 70% is enough.
That sounds strange to perfectionists.
It certainly does.
Because perfectionists want certainty.
But language is full of uncertainty.
I remember listening to a podcast once. I understood most of it, but there were several words I didn't know.
And what happened?
Surprisingly, I still understood the topic.
Exactly. Context is powerful.
I think we underestimate context.
Very much so.
Children seem to trust context naturally.
They do. Children are not constantly translating. They observe, they listen, they connect patterns.
Which means learning is more about exposure than control.
Beautifully said.
I wonder if adults make learning harder than it needs to be.
Sometimes we do. We try to force every answer immediately.
And perhaps that creates unnecessary pressure.
I believe so.
James, have you ever experienced that moment when you understand a sentence without translating it?
Many times.
And what does it feel like?
Peaceful.
Peaceful?
Yes, there is no effort. There is no panic. You simply understand.
I have experienced that a few times.
Really?
Yes, usually when I'm relaxed.
Interesting.
And when I notice it happening, I become excited and think, wait, I understood that without translating.
Which often interrupts the process.
Exactly.
It's almost funny.
It is.
Sometimes the mind tries too hard.
Like trying to fall asleep by forcing yourself to sleep.
That is a wonderful example.
The harder you try, the harder it becomes.
Which is why learning often happens when we stop fighting so much.
That sounds almost like trust.
I think trust is an important word.
Trusting ourselves.
Trusting the process.
Trusting that we don't need to understand every word.
Exactly.
But I think many listeners have a fear.
Which fear?
The fear that if they stop translating everything, they will miss something important.
Ah, yes, that fear is very understandable.
Because not knowing feels uncomfortable.
It does, but perhaps that discomfort isn't something we need to fight.
Then what should we do with it?
Maybe we should learn to sit with it.
That sounds difficult.
It can be, but sometimes growth begins when we stop running away from uncertainty and start making peace with it.
I think that's something worth exploring.
I couldn't agree more.
I couldn't agree more either, James, because uncertainty has always felt like an enemy to me. Whenever I didn't understand something immediately, I assumed I was doing something wrong.
That assumption is very common. We often mistake confusion for failure.
But confusion is part of learning, isn't it?
It certainly is. In fact, I would say that confusion is evidence that your brain is building new connections.
That sounds much kinder than the story I usually tell myself.
And what story is that?
If I don't understand everything, then I'm not improving.
Ah, yes, the perfectionist story.
Exactly.
But imagine learning to play the piano. Would you expect yourself to play every song perfectly after a few months?
Of course not.
Then why do we expect perfection from ourselves when learning a language?
Maybe because language feels personal.
That is true.
When I struggle with English, sometimes I feel like people are seeing my limitations.
But perhaps they are simply seeing a human being who is learning.
That perspective feels much gentler.
And much closer to reality.
You know, James, I once met someone who spoke English beautifully, but very slowly.
Really?
Yes, there were pauses between almost every sentence.
And did that bother you?
Not at all. Actually, it made the conversation feel calm.
Interesting.
I realized that I wasn't paying attention to how quickly they spoke. I was paying attention to their ideas.
Which is exactly how most people communicate.
Yet somehow we believe everyone is judging our speed.
We confuse speed with fluency.
But they are not the same.
Not at all.
I think social media contributes to that.
In what way?
We watch videos of people speaking quickly and effortlessly, and we assume that's what fluency should look like.
But we rarely see the years of practice behind those moments.
Or the mistakes they made along the way.
Exactly.
Sometimes I think comparison steals joy from learning.
It certainly can.
Because instead of celebrating progress, we focus on what we still cannot do.
And that creates pressure.
Which makes translating in our heads even worse.
Anxiety and overthinking often go together.
That reminds me of something.
What is it?
I remember watching a movie without subtitles for the first time.
That sounds exciting.
It was exciting, but also terrifying.
I can imagine.
I remember thinking I won't understand anything.
And what happened?
Surprisingly, I understood more than I expected.
Really?
Yes, not every word, but enough to follow the story.
Context again.
Exactly.
Context is one of the brain's greatest tools.
But I had always ignored it.
Why?
Because I thought understanding meant knowing every word.
And now?
Now, I think understanding is more about meaning than vocabulary.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
There is something fascinating about the brain.
Tell me,
The brain loves patterns.
patterns?
Yes, through repetition and exposure, it starts recognizing meanings naturally.
Without translation?
Exactly.
That almost sounds magical.
Perhaps not magical, just human.
I like that.
Think about babies.
Okay,
Nobody hands them a dictionary.
true.
They simply experience language again and again,
Through listening,
through emotions,
through repetition,
through connection.
which means language isn't just information.
It is experience.
That changes how I see learning.
In what way?
I spent years treating English like a school subject.
And perhaps it is something more.
Much more.
Language is a bridge.
A bridge?
Yes,
Yes, something temporary, something that helps us move from one place to another.
That changes how I see it.
Translation isn't the enemy.
Then what is?
Fear.
Fear?
Fear of mistakes, fear of uncertainty, fear of not understanding everything.
That makes sense.
Because fear makes us hold on too tightly.
And sometimes growth requires letting go.
Exactly.
Letting go of perfection.
Letting go of constant control.
Letting go of unrealistic expectations.
And trusting the process.
Trust seems to appear again and again in our conversations.
Maybe because trust is at the heart of learning.
You know, James, there is one thing that still worries me.
What is it?
What if I misunderstand people?
Ah, yes.
What if I miss something important? What if I hear something incorrectly?
That is such a human fear.
And I think many listeners feel the same way.
I believe so.
Because sometimes not understanding feels embarrassing.
But perhaps misunderstanding isn't something to fear.
Really?
Perhaps misunderstanding is simply part of communication itself.
That's interesting.
Because even native speakers misunderstand each other sometimes.
That's true.
And meaning is often repaired in conversation. People repeat, rephrase, clarify.
So communication is flexible, not perfect.
Exactly. It's more like a dance than a test.
A dance?
Yes, sometimes you step forward, sometimes you step back, sometimes you miss a step, but you continue moving together.
I like that image. It feels less strict.
And more human.
But I still worry about sounding wrong.
You will sound wrong sometimes. Everyone does.
Even fluent speakers?
Constantly. They just don't stop the conversation because of it.
So confidence isn't about never making mistakes.
It's about continuing even when you do.
That sounds difficult.
It feels difficult at first, but it becomes natural with time.
I think I've been treating mistakes like warnings.
And perhaps they are just signals.
Signals?
Yes, signals that you are communicating, trying, engaging.
That changes everything.
There is something else worth remembering.
What is it?
Most people are not analyzing your language as closely as you think.
You mean they are not judging every word?
Not at all. They are focused on meaning, not grammar.
That's a relief.
And when misunderstanding happens, people usually just adjust.
So it's not a disaster.
Never.
You know, I think I've been afraid of something small, but imagined it as something big.
That happens very often in learning.
Like building a storm in my head over a small mistake.
Exactly.
So maybe the goal isn't perfect English.
No.
Then what is it?
Connection.
Connection?
Yes, being able to share ideas, feelings, and thoughts with another person.
Even imperfectly.
Especially imperfectly.
That feels surprisingly freeing.
Because perfection can actually create distance.
How so?
It makes communication feel like performance instead of interaction.
I see.
But real communication is alive. It reacts. It adopts.
So mistakes are part of that life.
Exactly.
You know, James, I think I'm starting to understand something important.
What is it?
That fluency is not a destination.
I agree.
It's a process of becoming more comfortable with uncertainty.
Beautifully said.
And maybe the more I accept uncertainty, the more fluent I become.
That is often how it works.
I feel like this conversation is changing my perspective.
That is the goal.
Not to eliminate translation completely.
But to rely on it less and less over time.
Naturally.
Exactly.
Without pressure.
Without fear.
Just experience.
Just experience.
I think I can live with that idea.
And that might be the beginning of real fluency.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, Ruby.
And I think that's a beautiful place for our conversation to continue.
I think so too, James. Because sometimes the loudest voice we hear isn't another person's voice. It's our own.
And that voice can be surprisingly powerful.
Sometimes it encourages us, but sometimes it becomes our harshest critic.
I think many learners underestimate how much their inner dialogue shapes their experience.
I know I used to. Whenever I forgot a word or misunderstood something, I immediately started criticizing myself.
What kinds of things would you say?
Things like, you should know this already, or everyone else is improving faster than you.
Those are heavy words.
They are. And the strange thing is, I would never speak that way to someone I care about.
Yet somehow we believe we deserve less kindness than other people.
Why do we do that?
Perhaps because we think criticism will make us stronger.
But I don't think it always works.
Neither do I. Sometimes pressure creates more fear, and fear makes learning harder.
I have noticed that. The more I criticize myself, the less I enjoy learning.
Because shame drains energy, while kindness restores it.
That's beautifully said.
Thank you.
You know, James, I think many people are waiting for confidence.
Waiting until they know enough words.
Waiting until they stop translating everything.
Waiting until they stop making mistakes.
But maybe confidence doesn't come first.
I believe confidence grows because of action, not before action.
Like learning to swim.
Exactly. Nobody becomes confident before entering the water.
They become confident because they keep entering the water.
Through experience.
Through conversations.
Through mistakes.
Through awkward moments.
And through simply showing up.
I think I spent too much time trying to eliminate discomfort.
And now?
Now I think discomfort is simply part of growth.
I agree. It doesn't mean something is wrong.
It means something is changing.
Exactly.
You know, when we started this conversation, I thought translating inside my head was the biggest problem.
And now?
Now, I think fear was the bigger problem.
That's an interesting realization.
Because translation itself isn't bad.
No, it isn't.
It's simply a bridge.
A bridge that learners naturally rely on less over time.
Like learning to ride a bicycle with training wheels.
One day, you suddenly realize you're balancing on your own.
Without even noticing when the change happened.
Growth often happens quietly.
Which means comparison doesn't really help.
Everyone has their own pace.
And slower doesn't necessarily mean worse.
Sometimes slower means deeper.
I like that thought.
Me too.
You know, there was a time when I thought fluency meant sounding like someone else.
And now?
Now, I think fluency means sounding like myself.
That's beautiful.
Because language isn't about becoming another person.
It's about expressing who you already are.
Even if your speech is slow.
Even if you pause sometimes.
Even if you need time to search for words.
Communication isn't performance.
It's connection.
And connection doesn't require perfection.
Only presence.
Curiosity.
Honesty.
And patience.
A lot of patience, perhaps.
I think you're right.
You know what surprises me?
What?
Some of my favorite conversations happened when my English wasn't perfect.
Really?
Yes, I made mistakes, forgot words, and paused many times.
And what do you remember most?
Not the mistakes.
What then?
The laughter, the stories, and how comfortable I felt.
That's beautiful.
I realized that people remember warmth more than perfection.
I couldn't agree more.
I think learners often focus too much on what they don't know.
Instead of appreciating what they already understand.
Exactly.
Growth becomes invisible because what once felt difficult eventually becomes normal.
Like understanding a movie without subtitles.
Or following a conversation naturally.
And because it becomes normal, we stop celebrating it.
Which is why gratitude matters.
Taking a moment to notice how far we've come.
Even if the progress feels slow.
James, if someone listening remembers only one thing from today's conversation, what would you want them to be?
I would tell them this.
I'm listening.
You do not have to understand every word.
You do not have to translate every sentence.
You do not have to speak perfectly.
You are allowed to pause.
You are allowed to think.
You are allowed to ask questions.
You are allowed to make mistakes.
And you are allowed to grow slowly.
Because your mind is learning even when progress feels invisible.
And your voice deserves to be heard exactly as it is today.
Not someday in the future.
Not after perfection.
Not after knowing thousands of words.
But now.
One conversation at a time.
One mistake at a time.
One quiet victory at a time.
Thank you, James. I feel calmer after this conversation.
So do I, Ruby.
And to everyone listening, thank you for spending these peaceful moments with us.
Wherever you are in your journey, remember this.
Learning English is not a race.
It is not a test.
It is not about becoming perfect.
It is about understanding,
About connection.
about curiosity.
About trusting yourself enough to keep going.
Until next time, take care of yourself.
Be patient with yourself.
And remember, you don't have to translate every thought to find your voice.
Sometimes all you need is to listen, trust, and let the words come naturally.
One thought, one conversation, and one beautiful moment at a time.